Greetings. Thank you for joining us again. You are watching This Is My Health. Remember, we are on this new season where we are looking at HIV and AIDS and issues surrounding HIV and AIDS. You know, when you look at the reports from the United Nations and the World Health, they are showing that in the year 2020 to 2021, we are having an increase in HIV. The report that came out in 2022 shows that when we thought we were gaining, you know, this was a pandemic at one point. But it seems like when we were focusing on COVID-19, we lost the ball on HIV. That's why it's important for us to start talking about HIV. Let's talk about HIV to our families, to our children, in all the places where we are. And today, we are going to be looking at one of those things that are driving this new surge of HIV prevalence that is increasing among us. And I have very special guests today to come and join me and help me unpack this topic. It's two doctors coming from different fields. Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Please have a seat. Welcome, Doc.
Thank
Please
you.
have a seat. I'm going to have a seat here. And thank you very much for joining me at the cafe. The beautiful thing about coming for a meeting at a cafe is that you can actually have something to eat. So I had ordered before you came in. So I don't know. They say they have got fruit salad. They've got some fruits and crackers. What do you like to have?
Fruit salad will do.
Fruit salad will do. And you, May?
I have some crackers.
You have some crackers. Okay. So I don't know. They have tea and milk, water. What do you want? Water or tea, juice?
Rooibos will do.
Rooibos will do.
I think they'll bring that for you. While they're getting your orders ready, let's just continue with our business here. Can you kindly introduce yourself to I know you, but my guests, my audience may not know you.
Dr. Kagelo Henry Rakwena. I'm doing two things. I'm a psychotherapist, marriage and family therapist, and also I am a pastor.
Thank you. And also a pastor. So you are Dr. Pastor. And you, ma'am?
My name is Dr. Tandy Milton. I'm currently working in the UK, actually, in Cambridge University Hospital. But I have extensive experience working here in Botswana in the field of HIV, actually. So this is really fitting. But I've taken a career trajectory and I'm more interested in mental health and training in psychiatry. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So we are looking at a very interesting topic. It looks like some researchers are showing that one of the things that are driving HIV is this phenomenon of small houses. Now, I would like the marriage counselor here to help us unpack what are these things called small houses?
Small houses, sometimes they call a chick on the side, is having an extramarital relationship.
Yeah. Okay. So have you heard of the phenomenon of small houses? That's good.
I have.
You
Yes.
have. I'm glad that you are also into mental health. How does that work out mentally? What do you think is happening to somebody? Let's start with you. Somebody who's got two houses, it will seem.
I can't answer the question because I've never been that person. However, usually it's just, well, I'm not a man either. And most of the time,
Yes.
and I'm not saying all the time, most of the
Yes.
time, when we talk about small houses or extramarital affairs, we know that it's our brothers who are unfortunately implicated. With what's happening in their minds, I think it's more either a control thing or about, having your cake and eating it. So you're able to have that family, that stable life, but still that excitement on the side, no commitments.
I knew that a psychologist or doctor and thing will come up with something very interesting. You are a family therapist.
It affects both parties. There's mental stress, but the joy of having that cake outweighs the stress and the expectations that this thing can erupt any time.
So this chemical high, is that what is driving? Because the truth of the matter is, research is showing that this is a rampant phenomenon. It's not something that is very rare. it seems to be more common than we perhaps are admitting. And so when you are saying there's a ticking bomb, there's stress, it becomes very difficult to understand why people do it anyway.
Because the small house, there's no real life issues that we need to address. Taking care of the children and looking at the bills and all that. You are almost all the time at a perfect stage of life where you find each other. But in the marriage relationship, in the family setting, you are meeting day-to-day real life issues. And therefore, that one becomes a distractor for growth.
So it's an escape.
It's an escape. It's an escape, a distractor, where you are meant to grow up and man up or woman up. Then you take a leeway out.
Okay. Now I want to turn to the physical effects of this. It is no secret that one of the things that are driving the small house is the sexual relation in there. I don't know if there are small houses that are platonic, but it seems to be inherent with the, if they say the nature of the beast, it seems to come with it. Let's talk about the medical effects and challenges of this small house phenomenon.
Well, I think the most obvious one that you've already mentioned is HIV/AIDS. That's our biggest concern, especially in a country like Botswana, where we have, a HIV prevalence of over almost 25%. So meaning, if there's 4 people, at least 1 in every 4 people in our country is HIV positive. That's a shocking statistic. So that's the first concern. But apart from HIV, there are other health effects that can happen. It's not just HIV, but there are other sexually transmitted infections. There's the gonorrheas, the chlamydias, the herpes, some of which are incurable as well.
I'm listening to this and saying, wow, she's talking Greek. But
no, I mean, there are many, just to say there are many other infections that can affect someone's body and have long-lasting effects, some of which are treatable, some of which are untreatable. So that's the biggest concern. And of course, just working in the field of HIV in Botswana, what I saw a lot as well is passing from mother to child of HIV. So that's a big concern. I think there's this thing where maybe your wife or partner will be expecting, and obviously in the sexual part of things are not as exciting at home. So that's when maybe someone will go out and look for a small house. Pastor can kind of maybe attest to some of that. But that's obviously very risky, because now you're not only putting one person at risk, you're putting 2 people at risk, which is your partner and also the unborn baby, and later maybe the baby who's born, who's breastfeeding. So there are physical effects, but also mental, which I think Pastor touched on.
Has touched on that. Yes, you want to add on to that? With your experience, because you are the one person who's actually dealing with it by working with people who are in these situations.
The person who goes out has that stress, but still enjoys it, is going to full blown when the bomb ticks out and real life catches up with him or with her. And then the victim also is going to suffer, and the children. Sometimes those who experience it with when parents are going through that. And then even divorce can come in. So as the Dr. Milton says, the physical ailments, but now imagine also the mental ailments. In mental ailments, they come as if you are holding a 50 kg of cement, but no one sees it. But it's crashing you down. So you feel that there's load, there's pressure, anxiety. We cannot trust people anymore.
Who is that who's not trusted? The one who is at home?
With the one who is the victim.
Okay. So
even if the marriage ends, you can't trust another relationship. It takes a while to heal. For the children, you are creating a generation of people who cannot be trusted, who cannot trust other people. So you are giving them a burden that they didn't choose.
Does this thing then become almost, I'm afraid to use the word, but it's probably loosely used that way, hereditary? Does it end up now, I'm saying almost because I don't think I haven't heard that there's a gene for cheating, but it sounds almost like it will move when the father has been in that, there seems to be a tendency that the children, is that an observation, at least on your side?
Yes, there's a tendency that because even we know that there's a high percentage of abusers that are created by seeing abusers at home. So that because that becomes a solution when the pressure is in the family. The father or the mother solves it by going out.
Okay.
And then the chain goes up that if I'm pressurized and put in a corner, I can go out. So there's no gene to that, but there's that.
They are socialized.
They are socialized.
Yeah.
You are socialized.
Okay.
And also, because the father could not be trusted, your own husband will not be trusted. Say, I know how men behave because you have known them from your father.
Yes.
But now you paint everyone with the same brush.
With the same brush, yeah.
Yeah.
We have run out of time for now. We are going to go for a short break. When we come back, I want us now to look more into more clinical issues and other effects of what is them. Of course, we've been touching on a number of them on the social side. Please don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're only just joining us now, you are watching This Is My Health, and I'm meeting with Dr. Milton and Dr. Rakwena at a cafe where we are discussing issues that are driving HIV, because HIV is coming up and it's getting on the rise. And the specific issue we are looking at today is the issue of small houses. Before we went off for the break, we had managed to touch a bit on some of the medical conditions that can come in necessarily on the issue of the sexually transmitted infections. We also touched a little bit on the mental health issues that come in. We also touched a little bit on psychosocial, and we were just getting onto the issue of the so-called generational curse, looking at how being socialized in an environment where this phenomenon is happening creates a society of people who do small houses regularly or easily. So, welcome back, doctor.
Thank you.
Now, let's go into that issue of generational curse. I'm not so sure what that word means actually. But maybe you can unpack it. I hear it a lot. What does it mean?
Also, part of the generational curse, so to speak, is that other families, other community members, how are they going to view your family?
Okay.
From one generation to another. Don't get in that family. You know the father did this. You know what the mother did.
If somebody wants to get married in this, you want your child to be married in that family. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. During the consultation of marriage and preparation for marriage, you want to have both parents.
Yes.
And parents who were fighting are still fighting.
Yes.
That becomes tough for the child.
Yes. Yes.
They say that it takes a village to raise up a child. But the same village, if it has no morals, it destroys their own children.
Okay. Okay.
So it is not only the family that destroys these children, we are destroying also children of our neighbors. We were talking about how the victim is affected, but both parties are victims.
Okay.
You lose the integrity in the community.
Okay. How is the perpetrator, to borrow some of those words out there, the person who has gone out into the small house, how is he a victim, Dr. Milton?
I think, first of all, for somebody to, in a marriage situation, I'm not talking boyfriend-girlfriend situation, but in a marriage situation,
yes.
For somebody to take vows and to commit and enter into that covenant or that sacred relationship with somebody, and then go against them, it's a form of deceit, and then go against them. It means that there's obviously something internally wrong with you, and a lot of people, have unhealed traumas from their childhood, from their past, like Dr. Rakwena is saying, things that they saw growing up, even from other elders. So they kind of exhibit that behavior. But that person, I think, is a victim in that they are either unhealed from something, or they are insecure, or they are running from something.
They're medicating in a way.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's a form of.
So we shouldn't just look at a person and say, this one is a perpetual cheat. Maybe you psychiatrists should be trying to help us to see what makes one a cheat.
Yes, there's something wrong with
There's something that he's trying to replace.
Inherently, yes.
Sometimes people who are in a relationship where the partner has gone out, they tend to think that there's something wrong with them. Why did he go away? Is that true? Is it me?
Yeah, I'm glad we said that, because most of the victims, they think they they suffer twice.
Yes.
Because they look at themselves that I was not good enough.
Yes.
If I only did this. But as Dr. Milton has said, the person who goes out also is shooting something, is struggling with some things.
So they are not necessarily being pushed out.
They are not necessarily being pushed out. Something is pushing them, but not their partner.
Okay.
Even though those same people will usually project and say to the partner, you're the problem, because isn't it they want to hide behind that? You're the one who made me go out. You're the one who's doing this wrong. You're not a good wife. You're not a good husband, But that's usually not the case. That person is dealing with their own things, and them going out is not a reflection of the one who stayed faithful. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that when we are talking small houses, it's necessarily in marriage. But is it possible that the behavior of somebody before marriage can show you if this is the kind of person with a propensity towards a small house? Let's talk about those that are unmarried and having multiple concurrent sexual partners. What about that?
If you are having several, because each relationship you enter, it becomes a marriage or a temporary marriage. And then you are going to have a divorce.
It may not be solemnized by the pastor, but if there is bedroom issues, we are in marriage.
We are in marriage. Yeah. Then when you abandon that person, that means you have abandoned your marriage. So you are practicing divorce before marriage comes.
That's a very interesting concept. Okay. And so let's talk about that person who is here tomorrow, there. They say that there's a bee that likes many flowers, that kind of phenomenon. How does that affect somebody or build the mindset of somebody? And you'll be thinking about the clinical effects of that behavior.
You are building up your character, that this is the way to go. So that edge that keeps you going out, it is not going to be stopped by marriage. People sometimes they say, when I get married, I will just stay home. I'll stop there. I'll do that. No, it will not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a tendency that you would have built up on that, and then you have built. Is there anything, you talked chemicals last time, is there anything chemically that makes somebody be the one who is always on the move? Whether it's a girl or a boy, is there something that happens in their bodies? Because this thing is something that is very intriguing. Why do other people have relationship and stay with them, but others are always on the move?
The Bible says that we have a concept that you feed the new man when you are born again, and starve the old man. We are talking about electrical impulses of the brain, the boutons, where you make something for the first time, there's a dot in the brain, and then we make it again, there's a dot that you are feeding and it's getting bigger. And then it begins to control you. Then when you change behavior, then you have to build another one. Start from the scratch. It has to become bigger than the first one, so that you are controlled by the second one. So you feed the new one and starve the old one. So if you haven't started, please don't start.
Yes.
Because you are studying something that you don't know, if you are capable of stopping.
Yeah. It's a good advice actually for you to be saying, if you haven't started, don't start. Because when you talk, and I work a lot with young people, you talk with young people or unmarried people, there is this tendency of, for lack of a better word, macho behavior. It's like the person that is able to attract more girls or has more girlfriends is the man. And the girl that can have more boys with them, now that is the person, you know. Anyway, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, actually, there's obviously that social status or, that thing of, especially, say as a man, if you have money, it's easy for you to attract many women, or say if you're a woman and you have looks, it's easy for you to attract many men. And what that does is that it validates you and it kind of covers up your insecurities. But I also wanted to speak to an earlier point where you spoke about, before marriage, if there's things that you can see in someone that will show you that maybe after marriage there'll be that kind of person or a cheater. I think, when people are courting or in that dating stage or whatever, there's always those what we call red flags, or those things that will show you that this person is prone to this kind of behavior. But because maybe you are interested in marriage, or you love the idea of marriage, or marriage is a beautiful thing. No, it's a beautiful thing when it's done right. Then you kind of ignore those red flags because you want things to progress in that way. So I think, yes, there is always behaviors and things that will show you early on that we should not ignore. People should really be aware of those things.
Now I'm going to go on a bit of a dangerous line. You are a pastor, you are an Adventist, you are both church members. Do we have this problem of small houses in the church? Like I said, I'm going to go on a dangerous route now. Because sometimes when people are running away from the cares and problems of the world, I come to a church with the expectation that here I found a home. Yes. And I don't expect to be finding people doing that or to be cheated or things. Now, in your counseling, in your working, do we meet these kinds of problems in the church?
Unfortunately, this love affairs outside marriage, they have no boundaries. No marriage is immune to that. So we need to be guarded in all respects. And the more spiritual you are, the more holy things are attractive. And if you don't stay within those attractive holy things, it's easy for you to go out.
So we should not blind ourselves and say, I'm in church, or I'm dating a church boy or a church girl, or I'm married to a Christian, therefore I'm immune. We should always. Can you imagine that our time is gone? So I'm going to ask you to say your last words of encouragement, of counsel to our audience before we cut.
I would say that if you haven't gotten married, go for premarital counseling if you are already in love. It will help you pull out the red flags, as Dr. Milton said, and see and also establish how you are going to live inside the marriage before you get there. If you are married and you are going through these challenges, go for counseling, go for seminars. Sometimes you can heal when there is an extramarital affair, and heal and become out better than ever before. Don't take long before you get help.
Okay, thank you very much. Your last word, Doc?
I think, just a few points to add on to what my pastor has already said. I think the first one, of course, is just making sure that in every decision that you make, God is at the center. You've involved God in that decision. Whether you're going into a marriage or into a courtship, just make sure that you're constantly seeking God's counsel in that, arrangement. And again, I like what you said about, don't think that when you're in the church, because in the church, we're all broken people and we're seeking healing and we're seeking Christ. So don't think that when you're in the church, don't be oblivious to these things happening. And, just speaking from personal experience, somebody who has experienced this from a church member, I would say always be on your guard, always, seek out the counsel of others. Don't be too long. Don't take too long to get help. Second, and the last point, from me, is just obviously on a health point of view, that, if people are not regularly testing for HIV and other STIs, especially those who are sexually active, we know what's happening out there, whether married or unmarried. Please make sure that you're constantly going for your checks. If you're a woman, going for your pap smears, and just making sure that you're staying on top of your health, because at the end of the day, you only have that one body, and you need to really take care of it.
Thank you very much. I like the point of having that one body, no spare part.
No spare part. No spare part.
Now there you have it. I'm very happy that we managed to catch up with these two professionals. I believe the advice that they've given us is very profound. I'd like us to think on a few of these things that they have mentioned. Let's look at the issue of the mental effects of having small houses. It may look exciting, as we have learned that there's some excitement about it, but you cannot be well If you are finding yourself needing to go somewhere beyond the place where you have made a commitment, you probably have to sit and think, why am I needing to go out? There's probably something that was already broken in your relationship. It is said that before the person leaves the house physically, they would have long left mentally. So I would like to encourage you, if you are in a relationship, create an environment of good communication with your spouse so that you don't depart mentally before you go on to depart physically to go somewhere else. The other thing is, you know, a human being is just that, a human being. They are made with errors. Even the small house has got faults too. If you are able to overlook the faults of the small house, you will then have capacity to overlook the faults in your own big house. So my prayer for you is go back home, sit down, introspect. If your wife or your husband does not know what you've been up to, confession is good for the soul. It will be much better if they find out from you what has been going on, and then there's a chance for you to repair. Most importantly, there are always children involved, and these are innocent victims. These innocent victims, they suffer socially, they suffer mentally, they suffer physically, and they can see you. Remember that others may not see, but your children can actually see you. And beyond that, then there's this monster called HIV and all the other conditions that come with it. Let's just look after ourselves and heed the advice. Remember, God hates divorce, but at the same time, adultery is also forbidden by the commandments. Until next time, this is my hand.